I said, what a nice guy. You know, she said, oh yeah, he really was a good guy. Keyboards, and we hired him, and we used my cousin on drums. He was okay. But the
guy says, you know, you really got to listen to this. And unlike you, I used to listen to Cliffy Stone, you know, Molly B and all those people. And,
you grew up out here?
Huh?
You grew up out here?
Yes, it is. Los Angeles.
Attaboy.
And,
Native?
yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes, my parents used to drag me down to Hometown Jamboree, and
I used to play a couple of times with the Gold State was the Squeakin' Deacon show, which was in Long Beach. It was a radio show.
Oh, yeah.
Really a hoot.
I mean, you know, I can remember at the age of maybe about 4 years old singing Tennessee Ernie, Johnny Cash, Johnny Horton, all these people.
Oh, yeah. That was great. Yeah. You and me and David Lindley and various people around Southern California. Then up north, Herb had a whole other bunch of people he listened to that were live on TV up in the Berkeley area. So it's really funny.
I mean, these were people who later on would...
How about Tex Ritter? He had a show, too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Tex had a local one, too.
I have a great story to tell you. I'll just throw this in. This is just for you.
Okay.
But when I was in the Squirrel Barkers in San Diego, we were playing out at Bostonia Ballroom, which was Smokey Rogers' place. He was a big hero in San Diego. And I was over in the corner, and I was tuning my mandolin, and I was playing it, you know, I was just a little kid, and I see this shadow looming over me, and I look up, and it's Tex Ritter, and here's, like, I watched him on TV, and my mouth dropped open. He puts his hand on me, he goes, that sounds real fine, son, you keep practicing. I was like, going, whoa, you know, that was the greatest, wasn't it? Neat guy. And I met his wife years later. I mean, in the Desert Rose Band, I met Dorothy Ritter, I guess that's her name. Texas widow, and I told her the story. I said, what a nice guy. You know, she said, oh yeah, he really was a good guy. So, anyway, great story.
I was, what was the story I heard about, when Johnny did his San Quentin live album, Merle Haggard had come up to him and years later, and he said to him, he says, I really enjoyed live at San Quentin.
Yeah.
He says, oh, you really enjoyed the album? He says, no, I was there when you were recording it. You know, and it was, I mean, mind-blowing to meet your idol later on.
Well, yeah, you know, and it's like there's a real bond with all the guys out here that were playing country music, and it was so interesting what was going on out here. Lefty Frizzell hung out, spent a lot of time in California, probably more than in other parts of the country. And it was just so interesting what was going on.
And there's somebody that should have, something should have happened with him, but it just, I think we've all said it's timing.
Oh, you know, he was a real self-destructive guy, too, but, you know, what a singer.
Oh, he was just...
You know, man. And Win Stewart. Win Stewart was the guy that taught all those guys how to sing. Owens and Haggard, all of them. He was a real innovator, and he never got, you know, any recognition at all. But anyway, so we go back to Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
Oh, you go back to Sweetheart of the Rodeo, and...
we, of course, Kevin Parsons. Now, mind you, we'd already done some country stuff on Younger Than Yesterday, and then, I mean, really country rock, if you want to call it.
Right.
That's really what it was, the time between and all that stuff. And then along comes Parsons, and I had a strong ally there, and he was an ambitious young fellow right back then. So we went off to do the Sweetheart. So Gary Usher was still working with us. He was fine with the idea. Roger originally wanted to do a double album with synthesizer stuff on one side, which didn't happen.
Right.
It wouldn't have worked, but it was a nice idea to do as a separate project, but it wouldn't have worked with the Sweetheart.
Right.
So we go to Nashville and cut this thing. It's an okay record, Steve. It's not my favorite record. It sounds like we're sort of playing at being country guys, but it's okay. We had some great players on there, and you know, John Hartford, of course, passed away this week, 2 weeks ago, and I said John was a pivotal part of that record on fiddle and banjo. He was very, very strong influence and performer on Sweetheart of the Rodeo, along with Junior Husky and Lloyd Green and all these guys. I mean, they were really supportive, and they weren't looking at it like, okay, well, let's humor these rock guys because they're coming down here. But it was quite a big leap for us to do that. And like I say, some of it's good, and some of it's, you know, and I'm just talking personally, and I liked most of it. The whole debate over Graham's vocals being pulled to this day, I never did understand it because Graham is singing on certain things and he's not singing on other things. But I think Roger did a great job singing.
Well, sure, when you compare the two, I mean, and I have on the box set, you know, Roger did a fine job.
Roger did as good or better on something.
Exactly.
To be honest with you. My only critique is his accent's a little too heavy on Christian life, but I think he was sort of looking at his acting job there. But you know what? He did a good job with it.
Sure
He grasped it and did the job. And like I say, yeah, when I heard Graham's vocals again after years and years, I went, well, wait a minute, they're not that great. You know? So, but there's some moments on that record. I think one of the funnier songs is I'll Do Life in Prison. I think that's so ludicrous that, for, you know, especially when Graham is singing that, he's a kid with a trust fund trying to warble away on I'll Do Life in Prison for the wrongs of it. But it was okay. You know, it was a good, the legacy of the album far outweighed any monetary gain in that we influenced a lot of people, lots of musicians come up to me daily that are pretty well known now. I said, boy, after I heard Sweetheart, I got into country music, blah, blah, blah. You know. So it was a great experience. You know, it was just part of the see, I look at it as part of the learning curve.
Right.
And so going from Sweetheart, and of course the next thing I did was the Flying Burrito Brothers, but going to it was a part of an ongoing learning curve. And I always called Desert Rose the highly evolved Burrito Brothers. You know, had reached that pinnacle of real professional singing and playing and just like precision, but never sacrificing any of the commitment of the feel to the music that was there. So, yeah, so Sweetheart was part of it. It was a good learning experience, and there are some great moments on that record.
Oh, what fascinated me about you was always your timing. You sort of knew when to leave. You sort of knew when to leave as far as the bird, you know, the birds. I mean, you'd done rodeo, and then you created, you know, the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Once again, I look back and I go, the only regret I have about the birds is I should have played with Clarence a little more because he was such a phenomenal musician. But you're right, it was time to go. And, you know, yeah, I could have stayed in the Birds and made a heck of a lot more money than I did in the Burritos. It was like going back to square one. But the first year in the Burritos was very good, very productive. When Graham was focused, coherent, and we were writing a lot of great stuff together. And that first album was really nice.
Oh, that would have been the Gilded Palace?
That was the Gilded Palace. That was a real good project, and we had some great material. And like I say, he was a very focused, hard-working guy then, and then I lost him in the second album. He started to drift. And the second album just didn't quite. Part of the overall second album syndrome that afflicts everybody in this business, but it was not up to the first album, but there were a couple things that were interesting. It's Burrito Deluxe. And then we lost the old boy after that. He went on to Never Never Land, and we had to part company because he just wasn't being too attentive to or disciplined into a career there.
So about that point, I think you brought in Rick Roberts, right?
Rick was a good substitute tenor singer at the time, and he wrote some okay songs. I don't know. We lost the edge there, to be honest with you.
That would have been the third album, the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Yeah,
right?
it's okay, but we lost that initial edge that we had on the first album. The second album, that real country, if may we borrow the term alternative country, which certainly is what we started. But when Rick came along, and no slam against Rick, went on, had a pretty successful thing with his Firefall band, but it was a little too middle of the road. And I was just sort of, once again, exhausted with the whole process and having to deal with Graham and stuff at that point where he was really not behaving like a good boy, getting lots of mischief. And Rick came along, and it was like I was going, okay, let's just do something, you know, it's relaxing. So we did that third album. It's okay. It's not a bad record. There's some good moments on that too.
Now your last gig with them would have been, was it the last of the Red Hot?
Well, the Red Hot actually was a good record to me. I felt that live stuff was very exciting. It captured. We had turned into from being a very sloppy live band on the first album to a very exciting, more professional bass